the solemn feast of Corpus Christi. Today, we venerate and celebrate in a special manner the real presence of Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. It is true that we have reflected upon this mystery on the Maundy Thursday. Recognizing the centrality of Eucharist in our lives, the Church set aside another day to honor the most holy body and blood of our Lord. Hence, this feast. It is our belief that Jesus is truly present in the sacrament. The question is, how real is the real presence in our lives? It is not about the doctrine. It's about the love that we have for the sacrament. Does it prompt me to action? When at the Last Supper, Jesus broke the bread and passed the cup and said, "This is my body, this is my blood, given up for you for the forgiveness of sins," asked us to do it in his memory, he didn't stop there. He went on to fulfill it on the cross. His words were translated into action. He made his presence real. He made it felt. In another instance, when the disciples were en route to Emmaus, he walked with them in their moment of discernment. When he broke the bread, he opened their hearts and minds. He made his presence felt. Jesus is a great teacher. I am sure there is no dispute about it. However, it is saddening to know that to many, even to some baptized Christians, Jesus is just a teacher. A teacher gives us lessons. Jesus did not stop at being a teacher. He went further. He became all things to all people. For instance, in today's gospel, we see how Jesus, who wanted to take rest, was moved by the crowd that followed him. It is written, he welcomed them, taught them, and at the same time cured those who were in need of healing. He made his presence felt, even if it meant giving up the much needed break he deserved. What follows is more interesting. Even though he who needed a break is denied it, he makes sure the people are taken care of. Jesus is not just a teacher. He is a host who welcomes, a physician who heals, a father who provides. He is all things to all people. He is God. Now, let us look into the miracle itself. If we pay close attention to the incident, one would notice that it is not Jesus who is said to have noticed the need of the people, but the disciples. The disciples are clearly tired. They had just returned from the ministry and Jesus was supposed to take them for a vacation. Instead, they are here managing a crowd. They feel that the crowd must be dispersed lest they become a liability. A hungry crowd could be dangerous. Their surprise. Jesus is telling them, you give them something to eat. Rabbi, with all due respect, you're trying to be reasonable here. You are speaking nonsense. Where do we find them enough food? We looked around and we have the most 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Jesus then tasked them to seat the crowd in groups. Was it not enough that they just sat? But he wants them to be seated in groups of 50. Again, not a small feat. The Mosaic significance. The whole incident is a recreation of Moses feeding the Israelites in the desert. The groups of 50 resembles Moses assigning judges over the people in groups of 50s and 100s. The disciples are to be the judges in the new kingdom. Let's not get there. Jesus then blessed and broke the bread. He then tasked the disciples to distribute it and later to collect the leftovers. disciples did the heavy lifting. Dear friends, I'm not belittling the miracle. I'm just trying to draw your attention to the fact that Jesus is making the disciples part of the miracle in every little possible way. He doesn't make it about himself. He wants the disciples to feel his presence. He wants the crowd to feel his presence. I'm sure when Jesus looked up to the heaven and blessed the bread, he was thanking the Father for the perceptive disciples, for the effort they put in. Father, they do not know that the little that they do means a lot. Make it count. It was not enough that they perceived the plight of the people, but their perception should translate to action. They had just returned after the ministry and they had experienced the providence of God. Take no bread, money or clothes, you will be provided. They just experienced it. Now they must learn to make the presence they felt real for the other. I believe Jesus meant this when he said, you give them something to eat. You make them seated. You distribute the food. You collect the leftovers. Eucharist becomes a thanksgiving in all respect when, as it is otherwise called, it becomes the Holy Communion. That is, when the need of the other becomes my need. This way, the real presence in the Eucharist becomes real for everyone. It is not enough that I believe in the real presence in the sacrament and feel him and take him with me when I receive him in the Holy Communion. But I should give him to the other in my words and deeds. May the good Lord bless us all.